Okay, so I think it's almost 100 participants online already. So maybe we just start with the explanation of our today agenda and also sharing some informations about our company informations. Okay, and then today we have another speaker, means from our business partner from the accounting firm Plus KL. Okay, Mr. Lai. So later on he will do some explanations on the e-invoicing implementations, what we need to take care of for the preparations, or also in future when we do the submission, what we have to do in the LHBN portals. Okay. So, okay, let me start with the webinar session. Okay, so today's session is actually considered our second webinar for the e-invoicing. So for the first webinar we organized on the May, that one is just briefly explain on what is e-invoicing and what's the Autocount they preparing to do, and we just provide some PPT screen, everything's right. So after that, got some clients, they feedback like, I just see your PPT, nothing real in the system I can see, or maybe I can't click any buttons on the Autocounts there. Okay, so that's why we arranged for this webinar. It's actually some kind of like training to show you how to do the implementation prepare in the Autocount system. Okay, so before that, we will still explain of the what is the e-invoice module in the Malaysia. Okay, because I need to mention it's Malaysia because I think some of my clients from Philippines, they also joined the webinar. So I'm scared that it's confusing because this e-invoicing is actually focused on Malaysia one. Okay, so I would like to explain is that this one is the Autocount profile. So Autocount, we are business solution provider in Malaysia. Okay, we have a 19 years experience in software solutions industry. Okay, so we are based in the KL and we have branches in the KK Sabah. Okay, so we have more than 1,000 clients using our service. Okay, so if let's say you have any interested to know more details about A+com, you can follow us in our social media, Facebook, IG, or maybe our you can send us an email if let's say you have any inquiries for that. Okay. So this one is just our business solution, what we can provide to our clients. Okay. So for Autocounts, it's just one of our service, meaning software for accounting. Other than the Autocounts, we actually doing some developed solutions. Means that let's say your company, you need some maybe it's a special customization, like special software to handle your manufacturing or maybe it's your marketing CRM. So actually we can do the develops for the customization as well. Okay, we can do in the cloud-based programs, or maybe you can use a mobile solutions also. Okay, so this one is, let's say, other than Autocount. So if let's say in future you have any concern about the manufacturing industry, you need to like more easy the user-friendly system, then you can contact us. Okay. So this is our business partner. Plus is an accounting firm in KL. So the founder is Mr. Lai. So later on, he will share for the first section of the webinar is regarding the e-invoice. So he's a chartered accountant from the Malaysia. So maybe I just unmute to Mr. Lai and let him explain for the details. So for the first section of the webinar, right, Mr. Lai will share about the e-invoice. Means that they will share like what is the e-invoice basic knowledge, like what is the information I need to key in the e-invoice to print out to my clients, then how we do the submission, then any rules and regulations for the e-invoice there. Okay, so later on he will briefly to explain. Okay, so if let's say you have any questions later after the sharing, you can raise up a question in the chat box there. So we will have to answer everything that we know. Okay. So for the recording, because I keep seeing some maybe participant, they request for recording. So never mind, don't worry. We will record the videos and share with all the participants after the webinar session. Okay, yeah. So maybe I will share the post to Mr. Raymond.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So can you hear my voice clearly? If yes, can you type A if you can hear me? Type A. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, so let me share my screen first. 1 minute. Um, hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think you all can see my screen, right? Okay. So, my name is Lei Ming. Is a chartered accountant, recognized in Malaysia. So, hi, 1 minute, let me to do some setting first, because there are some participants is keep on enter to the waiting room. Okay. So, okay, 1 minute, let me pass the call host to guys. Okay, can. Okay, can. Okay, so I think you all can see my screen already lah. So today, the topic that we are going to share is talking about the Malaysia electronic invoicing. This kind of topic. Okay. So this one I don't need to explain again now. Okay, is same things. Okay. So so today we are going to share the e-invoice related things. As you may aware, the e-invoice implementation timeline will be start from this year, August, 1st of August, for those companies that have the annual income or sales that more than 100 millions. Okay. So this kind of the guideline, right? Actually, you have to refer back to the annual sales in year 2022. Okay. So if your annual sales is more than 100 million in 2022, then you have to start to implement the e-invoice starting from 1st of August 2024. Okay. But if your annual income is 25 millions until 100 millions, then your first day to implement the e-invoice will be the 1st of January 2025, while for the rest will be the 1st of July 2025. This is the timeline that given by the IRB. Okay. So I just want to understand that how many of you are facing this kind of the information, this kind of the problem, like not sure what is the e-invoice, like do not know how the e-invoice affect you, okay? Worry to use the e-invoice that lead to tax audit in the future, or even your current accountants do not understand what is the e-invoice and do not know how to comply the e-invoice requirements. If yes, can you type A if you encounter this kind of the problem? Okay, let me see how many of you having this kind of problem. Yeah, right. Hey, see, I can see there are some of you is still facing this kind of problem, right? But no worry, because in these 2 hours, I will briefly let you all know what is the e-invoice and then how you can do it so that you can start to prepare on it. Okay? For the next. So basically, what is the e-invoice? The e-invoice actually come of the e-invoice is because we want to have the paperless, digitalization, informative, and the tax purpose. Because if you refer to the current business practice, right, when we have the sales incurred, okay, when we do the business with someone, so what we need to do, we will prepare the hard copy invoice, and then write down all the informations, and then pass the invoice to your customer, and your customer will use the invoice they receive from you and prepare their own accounts, right? After they prepare the accounts, what they need to do? They will prepare the tax and audit, these all things, right? Okay. But the problem is, whatever the information that received by your customer, okay, or even prepared by yourself, the government is not able to know or is not able to verify that one is true or not. Okay. In layman term, the things that you create, okay, unless the government really site visit you, see the hard copy of the documents, they will only able to verify the information is correct or not. Put it in another way, if let's say, okay, your customer, they are doing some fraud case, okay, like edit your invoice, okay, and then go to claim the tax. To be honest, IRB will not able to detect it immediately, okay. Due to this reason, okay, Malaysian governments, the IRB start to implement the e-invoice so that it will be more transparent. Whatever the sales that you incurred now or happens now, you need to immediately update the IRB, okay, to tell them, hey, this time, this date, this time, who is doing the business with you? IRB will know immediately, and then they will verify the invoice that you create, okay? Both party, like the buyer and the seller, okay, you get the confirmations from the IRB. By using this process, IRB will able to verify all the things, and it will reduce the fraud case, okay? This is the main purpose for the e-invoice, okay? Paperless, digitalization, informative, like all the information that you sell to your customer or you buy from your customer, buy from your supplier, all will settle in the e-invoice, and then with the verified e-invoice by LHDN, you will able to claim the income tax deductions. Okay, so this is so-called e-invoice. Okay, but of course there are many people talking about the e-invoice. Hey, what kind of the documentations is considered as an e-invoice? Okay, because now we're already in the digitalizations era, okay? So I believe that if you're using the Autocount or another accounting software, you are able to generate the soft copy of the invoice, right? Actually, the soft copy of the invoice is not considered e-invoice. We can say that one is a soft copy e-invoice, but it's not the e-invoice that verified by the IRB. The verified e-invoice by IRB actually is referred to those documents that showing here, XML and JSON. Only these two type of the format, okay, specifically by IRB, is considered e-invoice. For the rest, like the PDF, document, JPEG, hard copy, email, screenshot, or even you send the documents via the WhatsApp, this all is not considered e-invoice. Remember, okay, that one we call it as a soft copy of invoices. Okay, so there are many people that they never see the e-invoice before. Okay, so for today I will show you some example. Okay, what is the e-invoice that shown by LHDN? Okay, so basically LHDN already launched the MyInvoice portal, okay, to issue the e-invoice. So this is some example, like how does it look like? Okay, this one is a MyInvoice portal for those businessmen. Okay, if you do not using any accounting software or to generate the e-invoice verified by the LHDN, you have to use the website launched by the LHDN, which call it MyInvoice system. And then from here, you have to generate the e-invoice. Okay, so the invoice that generated by the system will be something like this. There is the versions of the invoice, details, okay, your invoice number, when you issue the invoice, some details, your supplier, buyer details, and what you are selling, okay, together with the QR code. This all thing in one document, we call it as e-invoice by LHDN. But if you prepare this kind of documentations, is your company logo, names, okay, this kind of information that you prepare just like what you do in previously. Actually, this one, even that one is a soft copy, we do not consider as a e-invoice by IRB. Okay, so IRB already specific what kind of information must be stated in the informations and must be verified by IRB. Then only we can call it as e-invoice. So don't confuse about the e-invoice and the soft copy. Both are totally different things. Okay. So until here, are you still okay? If yes, then you write okay. If you understand what I'm talking about, okay? Okay, can? Good. Okay. So next time when you're talking about the e-invoice, don't ever show this one to others already. Okay, this one is not the e-invoice. Only this kind of document, okay, we call it as invoice. But of course, different software, different company will have different presentations. But the information stated in the invoices will be more or less similar. Okay. Okay. So what kind of the e-invoice that we do have? Okay. Basically, there are four type of documents. The first one we call it as invoices. Second is a credit note, debit note, and refund note. Basically, this concept is similar like what you using for the accounting software lah. Okay, we still have the invoices, credit note, debit note, refund note. We still have these four kind of the documentations. It's exactly same things. Okay, in the e-invoice era, we still have these four type of the items. Okay, so for the invoices, to make it simple, okay, this is a documents when you conclude or you're doing the business with your customer. After the sales completed, we will issue the documentations, and then this documentation will write down all your informations, your customer informations, what is the things that you sell, and then the payment details, whatever things, and this invoices will pass to your customer. This one we call it the invoice, okay, the proof of sales. Okay, while for the credit is in case after you raise the invoices, you found that something that you need to change, like the amount. Like let's say initially you want to charge 100 ringgit, but at the end you change your mind, you want to change to maybe 98 ringgit, so you can issue 2 ringgit credit note. Okay. For the debit note, it's the same. Credit note is a reduced mark, right? So for the debit note, we will increase the value of the transactions. Like let's say you want to bill 120, then we will issue another 20 ringgit debit notes. Now for the refund note, means when you raise the invoices, okay, 100 ringgit, you collect the 100 ringgit already, but somehow you have to reduce your transaction amount, okay, the value of the amount, and you need to refund the amount to your customer, like let's say 20 ringgit, okay. So you have to issue the refund note, which is the number 4, this one. Okay, so basically we have these 4 type of the invoices. So when you raise the e-invoice, right, you have to choose which one you have to use. I believe most of the time we will using the invoice lah. Okay, invoices, credit note, and the refund note is the most common documentations that we need to give our customer. Okay, talking about the e-invoice. Okay, who need to use the e-invoice? In here, actually, I list down all the possibility, like the associations, okay, corporations, body of persons like enterprise, partnership, LLP, partnership, branch, trust, unit trust. Basically, if you doing the business in Malaysia, you have to use the e-invoice. But of course, there are some party is exempted to use the e-invoice. But actually, this one doesn't matter to us because those persons who exempted to use the e-invoice is all related to governments like the state governments, federal governments, SSM, IRB, this kind of governments related things. Unless you are the governments. Otherwise, if you're doing the business in Malaysia, you have to use the e-invoice. So this e-invoice implementation actually is impact all of us. Okay, and the impact is very significant because it's unlike the GST or the AST. GST and AST era, okay, only those have the revenue more than 500K, you have to implement the GST and AST, right? But for the e-invoice, there is no such thing. As long as you're doing the business in Malaysia, you have to using the e-invoice. Okay, you get what I mean or not? Okay, everyone, okay, have to use the e-invoice. Okay, so why they want to implement the e-invoice? In here, there are some item is related to is a Chinese word, but to make it simple, e-invoice is used to address the tax evasions. Okay, what is the purpose of the e-invoice? Like I mentioned just now. Okay, if you're doing the business, you have to raise the e-invoice, right? Okay, actually the purpose of the e-invoice, there are 2 types. Okay, the first type we call it as a proof of income. Whatever the income that you receive from your customer, you have to raise the invoice, e-invoice to your customer. When your customer receive your e-invoice, okay, for your side, that one is your income, right? But another side, the customer side, that one is the expenses. So the e-invoice will serve for two types of the purpose. The first one will be the proof of income. If you have the income, you have to raise the invoice to let the income tax know, let the government know, hey, today you have this kind of income already. But at the same time, okay, if you are the customer, okay, you get the e-invoice from your supplier. What does it mean? It means the proof of expenses. Actually, the most important for the e-invoice is not about the proof of the income. Actually, it's a proof of expenses. Because in the guideline, right, okay, after the e-invoice implement, okay, if you want to get the tax deductions, okay, you have to use the e-invoice, okay. In other words, nowadays, when you want to claim the expenses and claim the tax deductions, what you need to do? You have to get the normal invoice from your supplier, right? And then you make the payment to them with the valid invoice that you receive from your supplier. Then you can claim the tax deductions if that one is related to the business expenses, right? But after e-invoice era, if you want to claim the same expenses for the tax deductions, you have to get the e-invoice, because the e-invoice is the only documents that can prove there is the expenses for your business. Okay, so if you do not get the e-invoice, you cannot prove the expenses. If you cannot prove the expenses, you cannot get the tax deductions. You get what I mean or not? Okay, so this is the main reason, okay, main purpose of the e-invoice. Main purpose of the e-invoice is not the income, it's the expenses. Why? I give you some example, okay? Because nowadays, right, there are many people, okay, they will get the how to say, they will get the normal invoice, the standard invoice, okay? They'll get the standard invoice and then claim the tax deductions. Okay, so for your tax deductions, there is not any issue because you really incurred the expenses, you really incurred the business expenses, right? So you claim the tax deduction is, I think it's quite logical, quite okay, okay. But the problem is, you claim the tax deductions. Your supplier, are they declare their income or not? No one knows. Unless IRB go to tax audit your supplier, or the tax audit your company and then check your supplier. Then they will only know whether your supplier declare the income or not. But after we use the e-invoice, regardless the supplier happy or not happy, okay, they have to inform the IRB that it is sales already concluded, and then they sell something to you. The supplier have to declare the income tax already. There is no way for them to run it. Okay, so this is the beauty of the e-invoice. Okay, so what is the consequences if you do not using the e-invoice? Okay, for now, actually, there is no any black and white talking about the penalty. But when we refer back to the Income Tax Act, right? Okay, if you do not using, or if you do not comply, okay, comply with what? If you do not comply with the Income Tax Act, there is the fine for the 200, okay, until 20K. Actually, this penalty is not only for the e-invoice. It also apply to those like if you do not submit the Form C income tax computation, you do not pay the income tax, or even you do not declare your Form E, Form VA. All the penalty is coming from this one. Okay, 200 until 20K. Okay, so these are the consequences. And this one is the e-invoice timeline, like I mentioned in the beginning. If your revenue is more than 100K, okay, it's more than 100K in year 2022, you have to start to implement e-invoice starting from 1st of August, which means 1 month later, okay, if you more than 100K. If your revenue is 25 million until 100 millions, implementation date is the 1st of January. And for others, for the rest, July, 1st of July 2025. Okay, what if your company, okay, you just like let's say you just say your company like 2023, 2024, when you need to implement the e-invoice, you will implement the e-invoice by 1st of July 2025. Okay, just remember this guideline is referred to 2022 accounts. Okay, if your 2022 account is more than 12 months, like 15 months, 18 months, then you have to prorate it accordingly. Okay. Okay. How to issue the e-invoice? Basically, if you want to issue the e-invoice, right? We got the two type of the methods. The first one is using the MyInvoice portal by LHDN. This MyInvoice portal is a free tool for you to access it. Okay, if your company is very small and there's not much transactions for every day or every month, actually you can using the free tool from LHDN. We call it a MyInvoice portal. Or else, actually, you can using the API by the third-party software like using Autocount. Okay, using Autocount to raise the e-invoice. So basically, there are two types of the methods how to raise the e-invoice. Okay, so for those who yet to see the MyInvoice portal, this is some example how that is look like. Okay, basically this one is a MyInvoice portal. There is a documentations, new documentation and submissions. Whatever the documents that you submit will appear here. If you want to raise a e-invoice, you can go to the new documentations. Okay, and if you want to see all the documents that you submit before, then you can see the submissions. Okay, this is the layout. Okay, for the MyInvoice portal. Okay, so similar to the accounting software, right? Actually, this one also have the invoice, credit note, debit note, refund, and self-bill e-invoice. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. But the MyInvoice portal will be more items that you have to click in because we have to do it one by one. Okay, like when you go to the MyInvoice portal, if you come out with your details, your team, your registration number, your business code, your business activity descriptions, NST email, this one is a tourism tax registrations, branch address, phone number, and your buyer information. You have to input it one by one. Try to imagine if today you have to 10 sales, you have to create 10 type of e-invoice. Okay, go to type their ID, details, TIN, name. This all things you have to type one by one. Okay. After you type out all the information for the buyer, you have to type what is the item that you need to sell to your customer. Like what is the code, what is the product, what is the trade code, what is the quantity, what is the amount, total, discount, tax. After you fill up this all things, then you have to check, is there any the bidding information? You have to fill it up, all the informations. See, this all information. You have to do it one by one. Okay, there is no way for you to save like the save the information and auto fill up. There is no such thing for the MyInvoice portal because the MyInvoice portal, their purpose to develop this kind of portal because there are some maybe the businessmen they do not really have a lot of the sales, then maybe they do not using the any accounting software, so they come with this kind of website for you to generate those e-invoice, but it's not for a lot of the invoices one lah. Okay, otherwise everything every time you have to key all the informations it will very take time. Okay, so this is the MyInvoice portal by LHDN. Okay, if you have the 10 invoices, then you have to do it 10 times. So how many times you have to waste for this kind of documentations? Okay, alternative, okay, if you want to save your time, actually you can using the API. Okay, to make it simple, API is something like the programming. Okay, your software, they will communicate with the e-invoice, the IRB side. After they communicate, whatever the invoices that you generate in your accounting software, they will help you to issue the e-invoice automatically. So it will save you a lot of time. Okay, so this is the second options if you want to issue the e-invoice. For me, I will recommend you use the software to do it. Otherwise, one day 10 invoice or one day 100 invoice, then how you do it? Okay, it will take a lot of time for you. Okay, to just comply the e-invoice. Okay, so what is the differences if you're using the MyInvoice portal and the software? Ultimately, both of them also can generate the e-invoice. There is no any differences. You still can generate the e-invoice regardless you're using the MyInvoice portal or you're using the software. But the problem is fast or slow. Okay, which one you want to choose? Okay, so for me, if you want to use the MyInvoice portal, it's like you are cycling, it's very slow. But if you're using the accounting software, it's like you are driving. Okay, it's very fast. But it's up to you because our governments, IRB, they do not force you whether you want to use a MyInvoice portal or you want to use the accounting software or you want to mix it both. Both is okay. Okay, it's up to you. Okay, because ultimately the objective is create the e-invoice we do. Okay. So basically, there are many informations that you have to fill it up in the e-invoice. From here, actually, we do know that there is 55 details you have to key in the e-invoice. Okay, and we split you to the 8 category like the address, business detail, contact number, invoice details, party details, payment information, and product and services. This is the 8 big items. Okay, and this 8 big item will further information that you need to okay, fill it up. Okay, in here, this is all the informations. You see, it seems like a lot of the informations, right? But actually, if you're using the software to create the e-invoice, right, it will help you to settle a lot of the time. Okay, because most of the items actually is I mean, we can save it early. Okay, by the supplier name, buyer name. Okay, happy or not happy. Okay, for the accounting system, right? Okay, because the supplier name means your name lah. Okay, you are the person who doing the business, right? So your name, it will not change every month, every time, right? Okay, so if you're using the software, okay, the software can help you to save all the supplier name. Okay, then can save your time. So for this information, we can handle it via the system. For the buyer name, if you are doing the business with the businessman, okay, B2B lah, we're talking B2B. If your business is B2B, most of the customer that you deal with, they are the recurring one. So if you are using the software, you can save your buyer name also. TIN number, you can use the system to save it. Registration number, SC number, tourism tax, email, MSIC code, business activity description. This all you can handle it via the system. And then buyer DIN, if your buyer is a recurring buyer, you also can use your system to save it. Okay, you don't need to type it every time. Try to imagine okay, if you are doing the B2B, okay, one customer, they maybe buy or use your service for 10 times 1 month. Okay, if you're using the MyInvoice portal, you have to key in 5 times the buyer DIN. But if you're using the software, right, once you set up, you only do it 1 time only. Okay, next time when you want to raise the e-invoice, right, you just choose the buyer and all the information will be automatically come out already. Okay, like this all thing all can handle by the software. Okay, supplier address, buyer address, contact number, versions, type, code, all can handle by the software. Okay, so this all I do not really repeat again because you can look it by yourself. But I can say most of the times, okay, you can using the software to handle it. Okay, and other than that, okay, when you fill out all the information, right, IRB also want to know what is the classifications code that you want to use. This kind of the classifications code actually is referred to the informations, is referred to the product or the services that you are going to offer to your to your customer. Okay. Okay. In here there is a 45 code. Okay. Listed down by the LHDN. Every time you raise an e-invoice, you have to let the IRB know what kind of information that you want to sell, what kind of the product or the services you want to sell to your customer. Now, let's say today, if you want to sell your laptop, then you have to use the code 3. Okay. Or maybe you are doing the e-commerce, then you have to use the number 8. Or maybe you are doing the internet subscriptions using code 17. You have to see this kind of the information. Okay. So if you do not find any descriptions that meet your needs, then you have to find out is there any others or not. Okay. So you have to put the others, like maybe others 22. Okay. If there is no suitable classification code. But of course, this classification code, I believe IRB, they will update it from month to month. Okay. So because now the e-invoice is still under production testing environments. So this is the 45 code that we have currently. So so no worry, this slide we will share to you later on. Okay, then you can look at it. So for now, right? Okay, because the e-invoice still under testing environments, the things that you can do it now actually start to preparations. Okay, like understand what is the product that you sell, what is the classification code that you need to use. Prepare all the informations, because when the things come up already, okay, we also do not know whether is there any bug or any informations that we need to resolve it. But at least nowadays, now we start to prepare it. Okay, when the implementation date coming ready, then we can do straight away do it. Okay, we no need to redo everything. Okay. And this one is a e-invoice process. Okay, basically the e-invoice process, there is not much difference as compared to what you're doing now. Okay, before the e-invoice process, okay, before the e-invoice era, what is our process when we're doing the business? Or when the customer come, okay, they will say they will buy the things from you, and you will raise the invoice. After you raise the invoice will pass to your customer. Your customer will make the payments to you, and then after that, end of the story. When it comes to e-invoice era, actually the process is quite similar. Okay, when the customer come, they want to buy the things, you also raise the invoice. Just the invoice that you raise is an e-invoice. Okay, you will using the MyInvoice portal or using the accounting software like the Autocount to raise the invoice. After you raise the invoice, income tax will receive your information immediately, and then they will verify and approve it. Okay, after the income tax, they verify and approve it. The invoices that you create, okay, and pass to your customer will be the verified e-invoice by LHDN. Same thing. This thing you will pass to your customer, and then your customer will check all the details. If everything details is okay, then end of the story. So you see, for the e-invoice process and our current business process, actually is exactly the same thing. There is no any much differences. The only differences is we just need to get the IRB to verify your invoices. That's it. Okay. But of course, the e-invoice that you raise, they will send to the income tax system. Their side will have a lot of the process that need to do, like checking your information, checking your details. But that one is not related to us because it's their back-end process. Okay. For our side, it still remains same. Whatever the information that we need to get from the customer, okay, we still need to get it. Okay, that's it. Okay, so there are many people asking, hey, is it all the sales that you do, you have to prepare the separate e-invoice? Actually, it's not necessary. Okay, because there are some business, they are doing like the F&B, a lot of customer in and out. Or the businessmen, they are doing like selling the product, okay, or hypermarket, Tesco, okay, Just Go, okay, there are many customers. Of course, not all the customers actually they want to get the e-invoice for tax deduction purpose, right? Like we go to e-takwitiao, we go to buy a milk from Tesco, we just want to consume on it, right? Because we are the end user, we are not going to claim the tax deductions from income tax, right? Okay, so if your business, okay, if your customer, they do not request the e-invoice, actually you all no need to prepare the e-invoice to that particular customer. Okay, so if your customer do not request the e-invoice, not necessary to issue the e-invoice for every single sales. You can consolidate all the invoices, okay, all the customer invoices that do not need the e-invoice, combine all together, okay, and then you issue one consolidated e-invoice within 7 days in the following month you do. Okay, for example, now it's June. From 1st of June until 30th of June, all the customer, assuming all your customer, they do not request the e-invoice from your side. Okay, and you also confirm they will not claim the tax. What you can do, consolidate all the information into one bill and then submit to the income tax in July. Okay, within 7 days we do. Okay, so this is why we call it as a consolidated e-invoice. Okay, but there are some category or some activity, some industry is not allowed to use the consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so there are 7 types. Okay, the first one will be the automotive. If your business is doing the automotive related, like sales of any motor vehicle, like Proton, Honda, Toyota, if you are selling the car, right? Okay, regardless of a new car or second-hand car, if you're doing the automotive, all the sales that you do, you have to issue the separate e-invoice for all the customer. Okay, or if you are doing the aviation sales for flight ticket, AirAsia, this kind of information, you also cannot using the consolidated e-invoice. If you are doing the luxury goods and the jewelry, those product is very expensive. You also cannot using the consolidated e-invoice. The reason why IRB they do not allow you to using the e-invoice because there are some people, okay, maybe they do not declare their income tax, but they do have a lot of the money to buy the luxury goods. So IRB they want to detect out, okay, who is the person have earned a lot but do not pay the income tax. At the same time, they do have the ability to buy a very expensive thing. Okay, so IRB mentioned that if you are selling the luxury goods, you are not allowed to using the consolidated e-invoice. Okay, but of course this one we still need to wait more information from IRB because currently there is no any any guideline talking about the luxury goods. How to define the luxury good? For now, we still do not know yet. We have to wait the update from the IRB. Or if you are doing the constructions, okay, renovations, constructions, anything related to the construction contract regulations 2007, you have to issue e-invoice, a normal e-invoice, okay, cannot consolidate it, okay. Or if you sell or retail the construction material, you cannot using the consolidated e-invoice. License betting and gaming, those are your sport auto, this kind of thing. Or your payments to your agents, dealer, distributor, you have to, you cannot using the consolidated e-invoice, okay. Other than that, okay, other than this 7 type, you can use the consolidated e-invoice if your customer do not request the e-invoice for you, from you. Okay, so to make it simple, this is the process. Okay, when you're doing the business right, this one is you. You have to confirm whether your buyer require the e-invoice or not. Yes or no. If they do not request the e-invoice from your side, that means they are the end user. They are not going to claim the income tax deductions from the IRB. So you can issue the normal invoice like what you are doing for now. Same as a current business practice. And then after that, after the months, consolidate all the invoices and submit to the IRB. End of the story. But in case your customer, your buyer, requests the e-invoice, maybe they are doing the business, they want to claim the tax from the income tax, then you have to obtain the buyer details, issue the validate and the e-invoice with the IBM, with the IRB, send the e-invoice to your buyer. Buyer can validate it. After all the information is ready and verified by the IRB, buyer will use the invoices that received from you, the invoice for the tax purpose. This is the two different process. So after the e-invoice era, you have to decide whether you want to using this route or another route. Okay, depends on your buyer. Okay, this depends on your buyer. Okay, and there is one more thing, self-bill e-invoice. Okay, e-invoice is something like when you're doing the business, customer pay you, then you raise the invoice to your customer lah. Okay, I think quite logic lah, because you are doing the sales now, right? But there are some situations you are the person who pay the money to another person. At the same time, you have to raise the e-invoice by yourself. This one we call it as a self-bill e-invoice. Okay, so in what situations payer have to issue the e-invoice on behalf? If you are the company, okay, like for example, you are doing the insurance agency, so you will pay the agents, you will pay the commissions to your agents, dealer, or distributor, or maybe you are doing the wholesales. Okay, you do have a lot of the agents, right? If you make the payments to your agents, dealer, and distributor, you have to raise the e-invoice on behalf. Okay, e-invoice on behalf. Or if you purchase from the foreign supplier, you have to issue the e-invoice on behalf as well, because foreign supplier, they are not in Malaysia, okay. Of course, they will not comply with the e-invoice. You will never get the e-invoice from the foreign supplier, right? So if you buy something from the foreign supplier, you have to help them to issue the e-invoice. If you do not issue the self-bill e-invoice, whatever the expenses, whatever the payments that you incurred, you are not able to prove the expenses. If you are not able to prove the expenses, you are not able to claim the tax deductions. Or even if you have made the payments to those like the freelance. I don't know, maybe you find someone to help you to do accounts, a freelance accountant. Okay, the person who help you to do the part-time account, they do not have any LSM, they do not carry any business. If you make the payments to those freelance, okay, you also have to raise the self-bill e-invoice. Okay, and how about the others? Profit distributor, payout to the betting gaming winner, interest payments, payment credit to the taxpayer recorded, bill, whatever listed in here. Okay, even you are the person who made the payment, made the payments to another person, you have to raise the self-bill e-invoice as well. Okay, so this one we call it as a self-bill e-invoice. Okay, so basically this is some kind of the sector that happens, like let's say F&B. For the F&B, how you start the e-invoice? For the F&B, right, most of the time, okay, the customer that come to your shop to eat and drink, they are the end user. They are not going to claim a tax deductions from the IRB. So for if you are doing the F&B, right, okay, you can issue the consolidated e-invoice, unless the person come to your counter, tell you, hey, I want to claim the tax one. So then you have to separately prepare the e-invoice for them. Other than that, I do not foresee you have to really, how to say, issue one invoice by one invoice. Okay, you are no need to issue all the e-invoice one. Okay, unless the customer request for it. If you are doing the e-commerce, like you are selling the product at Shopee, Lazada, TikTok, right? For you, you no need to do anything already, because e-invoice era, the Shopee, Lazada, TikTok platform, they need to issue the e-invoice on behalf of you. So for you are the seller, you don't need to do anything, and then you have the offline sales, or you purchase the product from the foreigner, foreign supplier. Then you have to do it. You have to do the self-bill e-invoice. Okay, if you are doing the retail, as usual, if the customer that do not request the e-invoice, no need to do anything. Just follow your normal practice. If the customer requests the e-invoice, then you just issue it. Okay. So if you are doing the constructions, no choice. You have to issue all the you have to issue all the invoices, okay, to your customer. If you are doing the educations, depends on your customer whether they want the e-invoice or not. If no, consolidated. If yes, then issue the e-invoice to them. If you are doing the salon, I believe there is no one will claim the income tax from the IRB lah. Okay, so just do the consolidated e-invoice we do. If you are doing the pisang goreng, okay, roadside mama store, okay, what you need to do? Most of them, I don't think they will claim the tax in deductions, so you can do the consolidated e-invoice. Okay, van sales. If your customer is the businessman, okay, they request the e-invoice, then just issue an e-invoice to them. If no, consolidated will do. If you are the freelance, for this one you have to see, okay. If you are the staff, just a normal staff working at the company, and then you truly go to do the part-time. If this kind of cases, for your side, you no need to do any e-invoice because the company that engage you as a part-time or freelancer, they need to issue the e-invoice on behalf of you. But if you are the person, okay, is actively doing the business, the full-time doing the part-time, then you have to issue the e-invoice or consolidate e-invoice. If you are the property agents or the insurance agents, no need to do anything for it because you are the agents. Your agency have to issue the e-invoice on behalf of you. Okay, so this is the impact that for all different sector. But of course, now I will pass the sessions to A+, and then they will let you know, okay, how the accounting software help you in the e-invoice implementation. Okay, so I think for my side will be until here first, and then if there is any Q&A, and then we will talking about the Q&A later on. Okay. Okay, self-bill e-invoice can generate from the Autocount system, right? Yes. Basically, the Autocount system are able to generate the invoice, debit note, credit note, refund note, even the self-bill e-invoice you can receive. Okay. So for the money interest received from the bank, need to issue the self-bill. No need. Actually, the bank itself, right? They will issue the e-invoice already. I'm not sure if you're aware. There are some of the bank, like the Alliance Bank, they already start to collect the information from all the customer. Okay, so because they want to issue the e-invoice for to you all. Okay.
So thank you for Liming for the sharing of the e-invoice. Like just now I mentioned the beauty of the e-invoice. Okay, but we just know it's beauty for us or beauty for the government. Okay, so okay, so just now I already explained, like in the e-invoice era, if let's say we're doing the manual way, what is the difficulty for the user and the account and the owner of the business, how they handle for the whole process for the e-invoice, like how I get the information from my clients and maintain in the master file or maybe Excel, if let's say I'm using a manual way. Okay, so in future, when I issue the invoice, what I'm going to do in the MyInvoice portal, if let's say I'm doing the manual submissions to the e-invoice. Okay, so rather than just now I mentioned is using a manual way. So now we were showing is that how Autocount helps the user to handle the whole process of the e-invoice. I mean, the whole process is like how we maintain for the master information, like just now the TIN number, the classification code, the currency code, everything is Autocount. Okay, and then from the system, how we issue out the invoice and request to the e-invoice approval to the LHDN there. Okay, so by today we were sharing of the preparation. We mentioned the preparation is because of 1st of August we are going to start for the first batch of the e-invoice. Okay, means that we only get 1 month's time to get ready all the things in the system there. Okay, so for those without the user, without the Autocount system, then you can try to figure out how to maintain. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so for the Autocount preparations, today we will cover about how we going to handle the 5 master file information in the Autocount. Okay, so first thing is a business application. So for those existing Autocount user, we will guide you how to enable the e-invoice in Autocount, but we need to upgrade the version to the latest one. So if let's say you are under the first batch, then yeah, we got the latest version from last week from the HDSF. So we can ready to do the upgrade for you. in order for you to actually maintain all the master information in the Autocount system there. Okay. So, but for the transaction side, we are still waiting because there is some testing with the LHDN there. So some delay for that one. So for today, we will cover over the maintenance work. So business application is how we enable the e-invoice in Autocount. Okay. Buyer information, that one is the informations for your customer. Means that when I issue the sales invoice, then what is the information I need to send together with the invoice form to the LHDN there. Okay. Now one is a data classification. This one is a classification code. Just now, Lai Ming already mentioned, got 55 of the classification. Okay, unit of measurement. So this one actually is required in your e-invoice documents when you submit to the LHDN there. That's why we'll explain in the future what we're going to do in the accounts there. Okay, currency code. That one is like, if let's say I have a overseas customer, then I need to update the currency code accordingly to the IRB listing. Okay. Okay, first thing, variation 1, business application. Okay, so this one is like maybe I prefer to use a system. Okay, so this is the latest version for the Autocount. Okay, so for those users you are using the 2.1, actually is quite familiar with the things. But then from inside now, we already insert some additional field, additional information that we require for the e-invoice. Okay, so first thing we will go to tools, options. Okay, so from here we have add another additional selections, country and tax. Okay, like just now I mentioned, the e-invoice now we implement is for the Malaysia. So in future, let's say Singapore or something else, we are not sure. So this one is a tax and country. So this one is a SST, GST, that times the already existing. So we have add another extra selections for this one is an e-invoice. Okay, so if let's say we already install the latest version for yours, right? Okay, so from here, e-invoice, when you reach the you want to do some testing, or maybe today maybe tomorrow I already done the upgrade for you. So you want to start to key in all the master information like the TIN number, the classification code, everything's right. So you have to go back to the tools option, go to the e-invoice. Okay, so from here you need to enable the e-invoice module. So after you enable already, you can put in, I'm under the first batch, or maybe it's a second batch, or the last batch is on the 2025 July. Okay, so this one you can do the maintenance from here. So if let's say you just want to do some testing, you don't go and put in the date is like 1st of August 2024. They don't, it will do a submission to the LHDN there. Okay. So if let's say you're under the second batch, you just want to do some checking or maybe some testing, then make sure you put in the date is later, means December, or maybe it's the 1st of June, January then. Okay, so this one, let's say I just put in 25. So after I enable already, okay, so after we enable, second one will be, okay, so this slide we will share to you later on. Second thing is maintain the buyer info. So what kind of the buyer info you need to maintain? Okay, so this one is the important part. Okay, so okay. So the buyer information is we need to maintain and put in is like I need to put in my customer name, the TIN number, registration, SST, email address, and contact number. This all is just now like I already mentioned in the MyInvoice portal. You every time have to key in all this kind of information when you're doing the submission for e-invoice. Okay, so for Autocounts, you just need to do one time. Means that you update in your customer information or maybe your supplier information for one time for the TIN number informations. Then later on, every time when you issue the invoice, credit note, sales invoice, or maybe refund, it will auto retrieve all the data and send to the LHDN there. Okay, so we just use the system to show. Okay, so if let's say in system, how we going to do the maybe we so-called just on the maintain information. So we got two type of way to key in the information in the Autocount. One is manual, means that later I'm going to show you to key in one by one in the data maintenance step. Okay. Another one is I think it's a quite good features in the Autocounts there. So we will have Autocount server, we call it AIP, okay, Autocount server. So that one is actually gather all the customer TIN number information. I mean, the customer is like all the, for example, our A+com is using Autocount. Okay, so when I request the TIN number from my customer, I can ask them whether will you like to share your TIN number to all the Autocount company that are using the Autocount sum. So let's say they authorize and they agree to share out the information for the TIN number. So actually in the Autocount means all the business owner, when they're using the Autocounts, right? If I say I sell to the same customer, I just get the TIN number from the Autocount server, it will have all the information. Means that I don't need to request again to the clients there. Okay. Later on, we will show how to use in the Autocounts there. Another one is import, because now it's already almost July. So I believe that some of the company, they already, before that is already maybe at the May or June, they already send out the Excel or maybe send out the Google form to ask the customer to actually fill up all the information. And then they are ready, the Excel, to do the import or maybe manual key in the Autocount system there. So later on, I will share also the template for the import function. Okay, so now I share in the system there. Okay. Okay, so for the Autocount system, okay, so the first thing, manual way, how to key in manual TIN number inside the Autocount. Okay, first thing is we can go to the debtor maintenance. Okay, so we just, when we, if let's say I already using the Autocount for a long times, okay, so let's say this customer, now I need to update the TIN number. Okay, so I can hit edit. Okay, so from here, the TIN number, I can't find it, right? Because I haven't keyed in anything there. So from here, straight away, I can click on the add new. Okay, then I put in the TIN number. Okay, so this one, if let's say I, on the spot, the customer in front of me, I request the information from them, then I key in the details. Okay, after that, I just click save. So those with the red color icons there, it means that it's a mandatory, means that it's a mandatory field from the LHDN. So you must fill in order to save this TIN number. Okay, so this one is the MSIC code. After that, your trade number, your phone number, and the email. So for the email is important here because when you save the email, you will send an email notifications like in future in the LHDN there. You have a notification to send out when I receive an approved e-invoice there. So let's say I just key in, then address, and the postcode. So this all information will actually reflect in the e-invoice portal when we do the submission that time. Okay, so the country, this one is based on the LHDN portal, the country list. Okay, so in case they got any update, they will update in the listing there. Okay, so let's say Malaysia. So this one is under Malaysia. I just click Malaysia. Then state, we can choose Penang, for example. Oh, okay, so this one is the group. Oh, okay. So this is how we maintain the TIN number here. So when the drop-down list, it will show that I already create a TIN number for this customer. Okay. So this is manual way, means that I key in one by one in Autocount. I edit, click, add in, then save. Okay. So this is the first thing. Okay. Second way is that if let's say I haven't do anything, I only got one month's times. How we going to let all of my customer to fill out the form, then I need to put in the Excel, then I need to ask my staff to key in or maybe to import to the system. It takes time, right? Okay, so in Autocounts that we have a great features, which is we can actually send a URL link to the customer set. So when the customer, they receive the URL, they just need to fill out the information. Okay, so for example, I will show using maybe Shenyang. Okay, so when I just now, if let's say I'm doing the manual way, okay. Okay, so I need to create new. Okay, so this one is a manual. I don't want to use the traditional way. Okay, so now it's like I want to send a link to a customer to ask them to fill out the information. So I will get a TIN number. Okay, so from here we can do a searching first. Search the company name. Or maybe you want to search a TIN number, or maybe it's a business registration number. Okay, so the first default is searching by the company name. So when you do a searching, this one is like I mentioned, if let's say my client, they agree to share the information in the Autocount server portal, then the other Autocount user, they were able to search my company name from here. Okay. So if let's say now I can't search my company name, means that I haven't had the details. Okay. So second step is I can click on the request the company tax information. So when I click on it, then I just send out the, okay, my email address. I need to send to who? Okay. com.com. Okay. Company name is this one. Then I can click on this one, get link. Okay. So get link means that I will generate a URL. Okay. So this one is temporarily stored in our Autocount servers there. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to copy the link. I can send through the email, or maybe I can send through the WhatsApp to my clients there. Okay. So when they receive the URL, means that you click on the URL link, right? It will redirect to the our Autocount server there, and they fill up the information like what is the company request for your TIN number, means that e-invoice, my company name. Okay. Then in the bottoms, I need to fill up my own company information, like what is my email address. Okay. My email address. Okay, then what is my company name? What is my classification, business in the individuals? Then what is my TIN number? Okay, then business registration, all the information just now Mr. Lining is already mentioned, and the MSIC code. So this one is you just select which industry for your MSIC code for your business, and then the phone number, address. So address is like a phone, for example. So this one, once I click on this, I fill up all the information. Okay, like the state is Kuala Lumpur. Those information is actually the importance in the e-invoice when we're doing the submission. So normally is I will ask the customer, you fill up all the information that is required. Don't skip anything. Okay. So country in Malaysia. So at the bottoms, now you can see, do you agree to share your company tax information to allow all the others Autocount user to actually search your company name? So this one is a pro and con. Pro is that you don't need like every time share your information to all the your vendors or maybe your customer anymore, because if let's say they are using Autocount, they can search for your company name or registration number from the Autocount get PIN numbers there. Okay. So let's say the customer say, I don't want to share. So just ask them to untick, then I will still get your information, but this information we will store in the AIP server there. Okay, so let's say now I'm willing to share. So I just click on submit. Okay, so yeah, the information. So I click on submit, it will send a notification code. Means that a verified code. So I have to verify from our email set. So straight away from the system. Okay, so from the Autocount, then this is your verification code. So I just need to put in the code in the screen website there. Okay, so from here, I just put in the code. Okay. Yep. Okay. So it's a successful submit. Okay. So once I already successful submit for the Mr. Lee, that one's right. So I can go back to for the just now the screen. Okay, actually, I don't need like open the Autocount system, keep it on this screen in order to my customer will respond back to the emails. Okay, so I can continue my works. I can close it and do my jobs like I can issue invoice or other things, or I can schedule one time send out all the URL first. Then later on when they fill up, right, I will receive a notification. Okay, notification is like an email I will receive from my portal. So it's some kind of like information like this. So if let's say Pinggate is already verified the and fill up all the invoice details, right? So we will receive an email from Autocount. It will say that I already registered which company, my client already filled up all the information. Then this is all the details I already have. Okay, so what I need to do is I just need to go back to the Autocount there. Okay, click on the edit button for Mr. Lee. So I just need to click on the get the TIN. So straight away, it will show out all the information Mr. Lee already keyed in. So from my side, I just need to click save on it. Okay, so in future, if let's say I save the transaction already, okay, so if let's say I'm another company, I got my Autocount, I got few company database, okay, so on my another database, right, I don't need to ask the customer to fill up again all the information, okay, so what we need to do is we just get the TIN number, okay, we can search by the company name. Okay, so let's say Mr. Lee. So I search the Mr. Lee, then straight away you will have the information, because Mr. Lee just now, when they do the verification, they allowed to sharing all the tax information to the Autocount user. So if let's say I got multi-company using the Autocount for the same customer, I don't need to ask them every time fill up. Later the customer will score like, why you need to every time fill up the information. Okay, so just ask them to fill up one time, okay, so that my other company using the Autocount, they can actually just search the name or business registration number and click on activate. So yes, TIN number, okay, and also they will do a checking. If let's say the TIN number is already exceed in the Autocount, then we will prompt alert say that you are already found in the Autocount. So you just need to do is a selection zone. So you just from the drop down list, you select Mr. T. That's it. Okay. So this is the beauty of the functions. We call it get the TIN number function. So far is from I say is only Autocounts they have this. Okay. So this one is like the storage of the TIN number. They will have a keep in our Autocount server. So it's optional for your client whether they're willing to share or not. Some of the customer they might say I don't want to share my information. Then you just ask them when they fill out the information, ask them to untick it, then that's it. Okay. So this one is a manual way. Another one is like, if let's say I already have the Excel for the past 2 months, I already get ready all the things, ask my staff to call one by one my customer and get all the informations, right? So now I already have the Excel. So what we can do is like, okay, we can put in the back. We can actually ask them to key in the Excel format. Okay, so this is an Excel format that we have. So if let's say you need the Excel template, then you just let us know. Okay. So this one is the TIN number registration. So all those information that just now the TIN entity there, tax entity, you will show at here. So this is all information that you have. So if let's say you already have the Excel, you just need to copy paste on it. Copy paste, put in the template, then we can do the import functions for you. Okay, so this one is for preparation tool. So if let's say you are the first batch of the customer using for the e-invoice, right? So maybe start from next week, we will do the arrangements to do for the upgrade. Okay. So data classification. So like just now, Mr. Liming already mentions that we got the list of the classifications for your maybe the products, right? Or the LHDN portals there. Okay, now currently it's got the 55 of the things. Okay, so in future, so if let's say the customer the LHDN there, they got the update for the classification code, like currently it's 55. So they say, okay, next month I need to increase until 80. Okay, so if let's say we are using the old methods of the system, is like, oh, you need to upgrade Autocount, wait, I need to upgrade for you the system there. Okay, so to avoid this kind of the keep on in upgrade versions for the existing user, okay, so that's why we have add in another function. It's like the get the latest link from the LHDN, latest information from LHDN. Okay, so same thing. If let's say in future the LHDN days, they already announced days that I got new maybe currency code, or maybe I got the new of the classification code. Okay, so our MSIC code. Okay, so if let's say you want to update, you don't need to call your dealer and ask them, can you upgrade my version or things? Okay, so actually straight away from here, we just go to the tools, options. Okay, so same thing in the country and tax here. Okay, so we just click on this button. Okay, so this one is actually we using the API function to link with the LHDN portal set. Okay, so when I click on the update link, right, you will start to get the information from LHDN for the latest currency code, country code, okay, for the latest of the unit of measurement, And also for the latest, like those information for the classification and also the coding. Okay, so this one is you must using the internet. Okay, I believe that in the e-invoice era, right? I think most of the user actually your PC, when you issue the invoice, you must using the internet already. Because if let's say when I do a submission, I do need to get my manager to approve in order to send out for the LHDN. So actually I need the internet to help me to integrate through the API, send out from my PC to the LHDN portal there. Okay, so in future I can foresee that every company, every office, they have to use the internet. Unless you are using the classification, maybe it's a consolidated invoice, those like the post system, that one. Okay. So this one is they will get the LHDN portal to update all the information there. Okay. So for the classification is you need to setting in the stock item maintenance there inside the Autocount. Okay. So means that in the preparation, first thing you need to maintain is the debtor information. Just debtor information is for the tax PIN number and all the email and the address and MSIC code, all information. So first thing you maintain is the debtor maintenance. Okay. Second thing is the item maintenance. So in the item maintenance, then you have to do two kind of things. One is classification. Okay, so this one successful. I just close it. Okay. Okay. Second things, I will show the slide together because both it actually is the same things to update. So the first thing is a classification code. Okay. Second thing is a unit of measurement. So means that unit of measurement, you also need to update in your stock items there. Okay. So these two, if let's say you got a lot of stock item maintenance, imagine that every item you have to maintain, update. So, but then don't worry, we will have we can use the Excel to do upgrade, to do the update. Okay. So if let's say now I'm doing one by one in the system. Okay. Oh no. Autocount. Okay. Okay, so I will go to the stock item maintenance. Okay, so if let's say this is all my item list. Okay, so by using the e-invoice, okay, so you have to update your information is like classification code, the first thing. So you need to mention, okay, this item is actually under which classification. So if let's say you're not sure which one you're using, maybe you can consult with maybe your accountants or maybe your tax agent for your business industry and business lecturer. Normally what kind of the classification you have to use, or maybe you can contact Lightning for the advice on that. Okay. Okay, so this one is the first thing you need to maintain for your stock item classification code. Okay. Second thing is for your UOM maintenance. So in let's say UOM maintenance is under the okay, maybe this one I only got one item UOM. I select one with the lot. Okay. Okay, so let's say I got this one, I got two UOM. So unit. Okay, I got box. Okay, so for example, this item, okay, classification code, I need to select, this one is under childcare, okay. The second thing I need to maintain, if let's say my items, I got multi of the unit of measurement. I got unit, I got box, I got curtains, or maybe I got meters, okay. So this UOM unit of measurement is we manually maintain in the Autocount system. We freeform to key in. We show out to the customer. We call it unit, okay. But then for the LHDN, they can't recognize it as a unit. So you have to update in the others here. Okay. You need to do another thing that I need to use the e-invoice measurement. This one is the e-invoice measurement. Okay. So this one actually is a list from the LHDN there. So you have to check from here. Okay. You say I want to use unit. Do they have the unit or things? Yep. So if let's say they don't have the unit, then you need to find out which kind of the things I need to use. So they got a lot of the unit of measurement from here. So we have to choose one by one. Or we can just, let's say kilo, then you can search for kg. Okay, so normally kg is quite standard lah. So you can select the kg, kgs. Okay, but for unit, then you need to mention this one is a pieces or EA or anything. So this one is a measurement from the LHDN there. So before we starting to using the e-invoice portal, you must maintain these two things in your stock maintenance there. Okay, so the unit of measurement will keep on adding because now it's just a few things. Okay, so in future we keep on add so that you need to select the most correct one, accurate for yours for the unit of measurements. Okay, so if let's say you have a lot of the items in the Autocount there, so don't worry, we can export the things, your Excel to Excel, and you fill up in the Excel, like just now the TIN number, you just fill up in the Excel according to your item code, then we will do the import for you. Okay, so this one is the unit of measurement. I don't know why they need the unit of measurement. Okay, currency code. So this one is a currency code. Actually, is a list from the LHDN there. So it will auto update from our system. So from your side, actually, you don't need to do anything. So it will after update already, right? It will actually link to your currency here. Okay, so this one is just update for the country code so that when you export to the overseas, you select the country, they will come out the correct currency code for you when you issue the invoice there. Yeah. So this is the currency code. So for the things we have to maintain. Okay, so this is the 5 major of the maintenance that we currently have in the version. Okay, other than that, it's like those transactions, how we issue the invoice, cash sales, or maybe CN. That ones we haven't had the news yet because of we actually still waiting for the HQ there. So I think by July we have a latest version, but then we will maybe we will do some video for the trainings for the transaction side. Okay, so today we will cover for the 5 major of the transaction using the system hands-on in one by one. Okay, so after this is like I will just briefly share some PPT. Okay, so this PPT is actually to explain what is coming soon for the invoice module in Autocount set. Okay, so like just now, I think it's already mentioned. So for the documents for the e-invoice that are involved is actually not just the invoice, because some people they say that e-invoice maybe just for invoice only ma. Okay, so actually it's not. So e-invoice will involve like invoice, credit note, debit note, your refund, or maybe it's like your cash sales, cash bill, everything's right. Okay, so for the amendments for the flow in the Autocount there, they will slightly change. Okay, so for in future, in the invoice there, right? So we will have a status for the e-invoice approval. Okay, so this is the normal flow for our e-invoice in future after you enable the invoice. Okay, so the first thing when we create, you put it as a draft. Okay, why you put it as draft is that some of the company, when I issue the invoice, okay, we need to wait until the salesman confirm everything. Is it okay? Is it the items correct? Quantity okay? Is it everything ngam? Okay, then only we go for the second we call it status is waiting for the approval. Okay, so waiting approval means that once I change the status to get the pending waiting approval, it will actually connect to the internet, send to the LHDN there. Okay, so they will compile your invoice information and send to the invoice LHDN portal. And then if let's say the LHDN portal after checking, they say everything is correct, okay, then they will send a signal back to the Autocount there to let us know whether this e-invoice is already approved or rejected. Okay, that's why we have a few status in future in your invoice, in your cash sales, credit note, you will have a few status inside. So every time when you create, you can put it as a draft first, or you can straight away send to the LHDN portal to get the verification. The reason why we put in draft is because like, if let's say we straight away send out, if let's say the LHDN straight away, they approve already. So the amendments you only can done is like within the 72 hours, 3 days, within the 72 hours. Okay, it's more than that, then you have to issue CN already. No more amendment for the invoice. Okay, so that one is you need to take in mindset for that one. Okay, so this is the screen that will show in the Autocount there. Currently, we can't hands-on like show in the inside the Autocount system because of we don't have the transaction side yet. Okay, so this is in future in your invoice, cash sales, or maybe your CNDN. Okay, you will have another bar at the top below the new and edit buttons there. It will show like it will show filter the status like draft, pending, or maybe approve, reject, or void already. So this is the status bar we will add in the Autocounts invoice scheme. Okay, and the right hand side you will also have the colors of the status. Greens means that I already valid, or maybe it's cancel. Okay, and then we can pull out the UUID information. UUID means that I already approved. Then the LHDN they send back to us the UUID unique code. Okay, so this one actually it will reflect in the QR codes there. Okay, so this is how it look like for the e-invoice there. Okay. Okay, so when we key in the transaction, like just I mentioned, straight away by default it is a draft. Means that if let's say I save as draft, it will just save the invoice and put it as a draft status. Okay, until we confirm everything correct, then only we transfer it to the awaiting approval. Okay, so from here, if let's say I want to check, I want to check when I send for the request, do I have any event log to check in our system? Yes, we have a document status change log, means that you can see that from when I change from draft to awaiting, then awaiting when I get the approval or maybe reject. So after reject, do I resend again for the e-invoice? So from here, you will have a event log for you to do a check inside. Okay, so we also can do the batch approve, because if let's say the boss always says that, oh, you issue draft, you wait until I come back office, then only you can send out. So imagine that if let's say I key in 100 bill already, I wait for my manager come back to do a check-in. So after check-in, they say, okay, correct, everything then you can send. So imagine if let's say I don't have this kind of the batch approval function, I need to edit one by one and change the status to approve, to request approve. Okay, so we have functions for batch approval, means that the user they just need to take whatever pending on whatever draft invoice I need to send for the awaiting, then I just one time select all, then send for approve. That's it. I don't need to one by one for that. Okay, so this one is just now I mentioned the status bar, the color, then the UUID information. If let's say got error, then you will have an error message as well. Okay, so now it's a consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so just now we mentioned that one is an e-invoice, means that I issue the invoice straight away. I have all the information for my customer and send out to them. Okay, so consolidated is like I issue the invoice without the information, because the customer say, I don't need the e-invoice, I'm the consumer, so I just need to issue the normal invoice for them only. Okay, so this one we can use a consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so consolidated e-invoice, we can have we will have a portals. Okay, so from here you just need to because like just now I mentioned, the consolidated e-invoice is only do once per month. Okay, so from here we can actually select from when to when I need to do the consolidated submission. Okay, from which document. Okay, so I mentioned from which document is because of okay. Okay, so here, so for the document type, currently the consolidated we have the invoice, cash sale, credit note, debit note, and post. Okay, so normally for consolidated, most of them you will use in the consolidated post user, because like I'm the hardware shop. Okay, so when my customer I'm the retail shop. Okay, so when my customer come to purchase, I'm the consumer. I don't need to claim my income tax or things. I just want to buy my lot. Okay, so I just issue the normal receipt is enough. I won't ask them can you give me your TIN number, your tax number, then your IC, then your email, all the information. If let's say I do this, then for sure I need a lot of the counter in my shop already. Okay, so normally consolidated is like the customer they didn't request for the e-invoice. I just as a consumer, I purchase, I use, then that's it. I don't need like do any income tax submissions, rebate or the claims, and then we can use the mostly for post. Then we can just issue the normal receipt from our post system. Then end of the month, then we do the consolidated invoice. Okay. So if let's say I'm the Autocount user which using the post system as well, then I just need to take post. Then from when to when, okay, then I process. So system will actually help you to consolidate, combine all the transaction and put it in the screen of the consolidated. Okay, so as you can see from here, here zoom in again. Okay, so actually for the consolidated invoice, right, they have the few types of the consolidated you can do a submission. Okay, one is every bill I put it as one line. Okay, 001, 0002, 003. Okay, imagine you got 10,000. Then when you do the consolidated submission to the LHDN portal, you have to wait long time. Okay, another way is like Autocount using. So I will just 001 until 004. Okay, this one the customer they didn't request for the e-invoice. So I just combine together and put in the amount quantity. Okay, and then for the 005 is missing from here is because of the customer they might request the e-invoice. Even though some of the customer they are consumer, but some is like, oh, purchase for my company use one. I need to claim my company, so I need you to issue the e-invoice. So in that case, the 005, the receipt user, they request for the e-invoice. Okay, by using the system, it will avoid the duplicate of the e-invoice submission, because like in the post system, when the customer they say, I request the e-invoice, so straight away from the post system, I can key in the customer information, like the company name, the TIN number, everything, and then we can do a submission for the e-invoice portal. So when we do the consolidated times, is actually you take out the one we already request for the e-invoice. Okay, so this one, if let's say you are using a system, then it's easy for you to control. Imagine if let's say I'm still using a system without the e-invoice function one, I still issue 1 to 100 bills. Okay, then maybe customer in the number 5, I request the e-invoice. So I can go to the MyInvoice portal, key in the detail and generate the e-invoice for them. Yeah, we can do it like that. Okay, but when we do the submission, or maybe your part-time freelance accountant, when we do the submission that time, they need to remember to take out the 005 this bill. Okay, if let's say they didn't take out, right, your sales will increase already. Okay, you know what I mean? So if let's say I got 100 bills, okay, I do it manual way lah. My post system, I don't have any invoice yet. I will do manual in MyInvoice portal. Yes, you can do it. So you must take note, you must write down the information is that which bill I already submit to the MyInvoice portal. And then for my freelance account or maybe my part-time account, when they do the submissions to the LHDN, they must remember to take out the amount from there. If let's say they didn't take out, I already e-invoice for 5,000. Then my 1 to 100, 100,000. So I submit again, I actually got extra income for the 5,000 already, which is the 5,000 actually is because of I already submitted e-invoice there. Okay, and then for the freelance account or maybe the account user, you must take note that consolidated, you must put in the invoice number. So you cannot like lump sum one figure or from date to date when and put in the figures there, cannot. So you must put in as a sample like this. So if let's say the 005 already submit invoice, then you can stop and put in another one, then stop, then put in another one. Line by line. Then the quantity always put it as 1. Then the unit price is the total of the amount for the bill. Okay. But if let's say you're using the Autocount, then this one you don't need to worry already because it's totally handled by the system. You don't need like take note which one already submit e-invoice or not. Okay. Then the last field is the self-bill. Okay. So previously this one is a totally new functions in the Autocount set. Even though GST or SST, we also don't have the self-bill e-invoice for it. So for the e-invoice, you will have another transaction. We call it the self-bill invoice. Okay, so this one is actually I bill myself, represent for my vendors. If let's say I purchase from overseas, they don't have any e-invoice, but I have to capture my proof of expenses. then I can do the self-bill invoice in the Autocount system there. Okay, so it will say that when we do the self-bill, right, actually it's just for the submission purpose. No double entry, no posting account, just for the submission. When I key in the self-bill, they will auto send to the MyInvois or MyInvois for the LHPN portal to do the submission there. Okay, so this one is no double entry. No double entry means that I still maintain the previous flow. When I purchase on overseas, I key in purchase invoice, then I make a payment, that one is still same. But then just I need to key in the another document, we call it self-bill invoice from here. Okay, so this one actually just a normal invoice. You just key in which creditor, then what is the items, what is the information, currency code, let's say from overseas, then you need to select what is the overseas code. Okay, so this is the self-bill information. Okay, so if let's say like just I mentioned, I already can follow my existing flow. I create the purchase invoice, or maybe I create my payment voucher. So I already have the detail inside the payment voucher. Can I just copy paste? Yes, you can do it. So in the cash book payment voucher, in the purchase invoice, actually you can use a transfer function, some kind of transfer function. Okay, so like this sample in the cash book. So if let's say this cash book, I want to do the self-bill, like rental. So when I already payment vouchers for my rental, then the owner, they say, I don't have this company, I won't issue you any invoice, you simply issue. So this one is, after you key in the payment voucher, put in the rental already, so you just right click the payment voucher, then you can generate a new self-bill invoice from here. So when you generate the new self-bill invoice, same apply to the purchase invoice. Okay, so it will actually copy all the details from here. Okay, so you will see that at the back there. Oh, sorry. So at the back there, so all the items, it will auto help to fill up. So what we need to do is we just need to key in the informations for the like the entity. For import, let's say import, I will have the K2 form. So I need to put in as additional information details. So I need to, based on the K2 form, to do the submission, key in all the details there. Okay, so this one is from overseas. So let's say it's a self-bill rental, then you don't need to key the information like this. You just maintain the self-bill as enough. Then that's another one is for the submission. So for the submission is that when we do a submission, when I just now the invoice, I already click on request for the approval. I already sent to the HTM portal. So they will send out a signal back to the Autocount whether it's a successful approved or maybe it's a rejected because of some error. So this kind of things we can actually refer back to the MyInvoice submission portal. So from here, you will have all the details like you can actually like search bank to bank, what is the transaction type, document, then what is the status, whether I submitted already, or maybe I cancel the submission, or maybe it's a pending, still remain pending. So this all information we can do a checking in the submission enhancement here. Okay, so that's it for the MyInvoice from the Autocounts. Okay, so today for the transaction side is we just briefly explain on the what is the functions there. So actually in the first sections of the webinar, right? Webinar, actually we do explain more details about that. So if let's say you need, maybe later on we will share out the URL link also, means for the first webinar the video link. Okay. Okay, so this one. So let me okay, promotion. So this one is just to sharing to those user. So who are still using Autocount 1.9, 1.8, 1.6, 1.5, haven't upgraded to 2.1. 2.1 is a version for e-invoice. Okay, so haven't upgraded to 2.1 versions, you actually can consider to upgrade for now, because we're not sure in the next year whether the fees will increase or not. Okay, so currently if let's say you upgrade from this month onwards, the promotion is still on. So if let's say you upgrade, then you're entitled for 35% discount for the upgrade fees. So if let's say you're interested, then you can contact to our sales contact. Okay. Then now is the Q&A section. Okay, let me check. Okay. Yeah, like me. See. Okay.
It seems like most of the questions we already answered it.
Yeah. Okay. Most of the question is already answered. So maybe let's say in future those customer they have some question to ask, they can just go to your social media to text you or something else.
You can WhatsApp my customer service, or you go to my Facebook and then drop me a message. You do.
Okay. So now maybe we do some checking Q&A section. Previous yes, recording we will put in later on we will share out for all the recording. Okay. For the last time the webinar and also for today. After submit the e-invoice to the only can send the okay, after submit the e-invoice to LHDN, still need to wait for approval. After approve, only can send to the customer. This one actually is a good question because from the LHBN guideline, they do mention is that actually within 3 seconds, 3 seconds, yeah, 3 seconds, they will send back the approval notice for us. Okay. But the speed we not sure yet lah. They say is last time they mentioned is 3 seconds. So if that is 3 seconds, I think is the customer can wait lah. Yeah. So means that after you save already, send approval 3 seconds, then I click print. Then straight away I have the QR code. I don't need like ask the customer, you wait, wait. Then later on like saying the soft copy them.
Okay. And then there's one guy asking, can one company submit an individual e-invoice and a consolidated e-invoice because of different group of the customer? It's up to you. You want how you want to mix and match it. You can open one, and then if another side they do not need the e-invoice, then you just consolidate it. Okay. As long as the both individual e-invoice and the consolidated e-invoice combine all together, it's tidy back to your sales, then you'll be fine already. So it's up to you how to want to mix and match it. And for the utility bill, how to do it? Okay, for the utility bill, okay, the bill will be issued to the owner, right? So the e-invoice will be issued to the owner as well. So if you are the person who use the, use the shop lot, and then it's under your name, then nothing to do lah, because the utility company, they will do the e-invoice already. But in case you have just rent the shop, then you have to see either your owner have to raise the e-invoice to you, or yourself, you have to issue the self-bill e-invoice to your owner. Depends on how to do it. Okay, depends on case of case.
Okay, so
and the date of
the question is regarding for the Autocount side. So they will ask like, if let's say my invoice in draft, so is it considered posted? Yes, it's posted. So once you save the invoice, right, it now doesn't matter you put in as a draft, awaiting for approval or rejected, it will do still posting to the account side. It doesn't affect anything for your double entry lah. So once you save, it doesn't matter you set you choose a draft or things, it will still posting to account side.
Okay, SMK talking about the delivery date, right? Okay, based on the current practice, right, and the guideline, they do not really mention when we need to issue the e-invoice. Okay, other than the consolidated e-invoice, they might need to do it within 7 days lah. Okay, but other than that, there is no specific date for that. So if you want to prepare in advance, or you want to prepare after that, so far still okay.
Okay. If the self-bill no double entry required, how the system require? The self-bill actually is just a supporting documents. You still need to do the double entry like normal. Like means that if let's say I purchase from my overseas, I still issue the purchase invoice and key in the system. The double entry still like currently your practice. Just you need to issue another document. We call it is a self-bill invoice. That one just to the submission to the LHDN then only.
Okay. For the self-bill e-invoice or consolidated e-invoice or even the normal e-invoice, right, that submit to the LHDN, actually this one is, we call it a submissions only. Okay, it will not affect your, double entry one. Whatever the things that you currently do it, if you remain same, just after the e-invoice era, the things that you do, they will send to the LHDN for verifications and submission purpose only.
So Gan is asking, so we can filter the invoice in Autocount, which that need to do the consolidate. Actually, you don't need to filter. The system auto will do it for you. Means that the system will detect like which one I don't have the tax entity number, then I will put it as a consolidated. So sometimes that if let's say the customer team requests the e-invoice, then I just key in like normal without the tax entity number. So it will treat it as a consolidated. So auto compound in your consolidated e-invoice portal.
Okay.
Date of filter, date of delivery must be current date. Date of delivery. This one quite is a questions. The guideline didn't actually mention that. Can I issue the future bill for the invoice there?
So far there's no mention any yet about the date.
But just for some information that we doing the testing in the integration for the APIs, right? Actually, it's not allowed currently not allowed for that. So I'm not sure. So in future, it might have a changes. Yeah. So it means that in the e-invoice era, it's not allowed for future billing. I can't issue the bill for the next month.
Okay. So any other questions? If no, I think that's all for today, is it?
Yeah, that's all for today.
MSIC, there are last two, and we just answer the last two lah. So for the MSIC code for the buyer, can we just put a NA? Ideally cannot, because this one is a compulsory information in the e-invoice. Okay. So if early is using another software, after that shift to the Autocount, whether is it possible to track it back the other invoices? This one need to pass back to Autocount. But anyway, for the MyInvoice portal, right? Okay, whatever the things that you submit up, if you appear in the MyInvoice portal. So if you want to check it back, maybe you can go back to the MyInvoice portal, the original one.
Yeah, but we're not sure what is the time frame to keep all the data.
Yeah.
Okay, so early just now to answer the questions, can I trace back the other invoice? Normally when I switch from software A to software B, normally it's like we just bring forward all those opening balance. Means that all the transaction from the previous system, we won't actually put it back, because if let's say I put it back, then Autocount you ask whether I want to send to the e-invoice portal or not. Yes. So that's why normally if let's say you switch system, it's better before you start to use the e-invoice. So because we can't actually transfer all the transaction from the other software to the Autocount there, unless you're willing to rekey or you can provide all the information in Excel. So yeah, I think that's it. Past invoice. So I think that's it for the last questions. Past invoice and the other invoice. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. So today the recording we will share to yours based on the contact that you've given by maybe by WhatsApp and by the emails. Okay. So if let's say you need more details informations like for accounting side, the tax e-invoice knowledge, right? You actually can contact Lai Ming for the details. So we will handle for the Autocount side. So let's say you have questions about your Autocount system, or maybe you are interested to switch to Autocounts. So you just contact us for the details there. So we will share the today video to yours. Okay. So yeah. So Lai Ming already shared the contact number for the customer service from Act Plus. So you faster to copy. Then yes, from Autocounts, from the A Plus, we already share on the screen there. So you can just contact us for the details. Okay, that's it for today. So any question, you just contact us or WhatsApp to us. So thank you for your time. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.